We are back here at Movies You Missed Podcast for episode 178. Welcome back, everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed last week's episode. I sure as hell did, and I know V did as well. V, how are you doing today?
I am so happy we have revisited these cherished childhood movies.
Hell to the yeah. I am a massive fan of both of these movies.
Same.
And it's been a lot longer since I've seen my pick than I have seen yours. So I am excited to get into my pick as well as yours. It's going to be a real good one. We go back to the 90s, but I believe both of our films are set in the 30s, if I remember correctly.
You are correct.
Perfect. Look at that. Yours did come out after mine, but not by very much.
Mm-mm.
So when we get into both of these movies, we'll discuss all of that. But hey, if you're brand new here to Movies You Missed Podcast, welcome to MYM Pod. We are John and V. We are entertainment industry veterans. We are here to break down some films that we feel need to be revisited, flown under the radar, and like V said just a few seconds ago, cherished childhood memories. And that's what both of these are for me. And it sounds like for you too.
Well, it is fun to introduce each other to new movies that the other person hasn't seen. There is something to be said about revisiting movies that we know we both love.
Hell yeah. And it's just going to be such a great conversation today.
Like when we revisited Liar Liar and basically quoted the movie during the
Oh, yeah.
episode.
That was so much fun.
That was great.
There's a good amount of quotable in both of our picks this week as well.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, I'm glad you feel that way. And again, if you are new here to Movies You Missed Podcast, what V and I really like to do, before we break down the movies that we've chosen for the week, we love to discuss the movies we've seen in theaters or on streaming over the last week. And V, I know that you are busy with your crazy life in Alaska, so I assume that you didn't see anything new this week.
Unfortunately not. We're in our final push of the season. This is our last month, so
Sweet.
Really not giving us any time to do anything but work. But I'm really glad to hear that you saw some.
I did. I saw 5 total, and 2 of which were revisits because of the month of masterpieces that Regal is doing. My father and I had a great day at the movies and went and saw Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb.
Awesome.
And seeing that in theaters again was so much fun. On top of that, I also got to see the Martin Scorsese, DiCaprio, Matt Damon, Alec Baldwin, Mark Wahlberg epic, The Departed.
Have you ever seen the original?
I have not seen the original. No, I really have to, though.
You do.
Oh, you've seen it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
sweet.
It's in Chinese.
Yeah.
It's great, yeah.
Infernal Affairs, I think, is the original title, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, one of these days I will check it out. So those are the 2 revisits due to the month of masterpieces that Regal is doing. I saw 3 other new movies, 2 on streaming and 1 in theaters, and I'm going to start with the one that I very, very unfortunately did not enjoy to the point where I turned it off an hour into the movie.
You texted me about this today. I'm eagerly awaiting what this movie was.
This is a bit of a heartbreaker for me because this is the new Spike Lee movie starring Denzel Washington and Jeffrey Wright called Highest to Lowest.
No! Damn it.
Yeah, it's fucking terrible.
Oh.
It is terrible. I don't know what was going on that set or what the idea was for this movie. Apparently, it's also a remake from Akira Kurosawa, so I got to check the original out at some point, but I could not bear to finish this movie. It is so bad. It felt like it was a Lifetime movie, truthfully. That's what it felt like. I just could not do it, and I feel terrible saying it, but that's just my opinion.
Well, every director has a miss or two, so... Or
yes, they do.
Bunch.
Yeah, or a bunch, yeah.
But yes, we're usually fans of Spike Lee. It happens.
Yeah, that was very sad. So that was the one I enjoyed the least out of the last several movies that I watched. The next one I took my wife to see in theaters because I was looking forward to it because I saw the trailer several times, and luckily I didn't see another trailer for it. And my wife wanted to see it because she's a big fan of Olivia Colman and Benedict Cumberbatch and Kate McKinnon, so we went and saw The Roses.
Yeah. Speaking of needing to watch the original as well.
I know. It's like a week of movies that all had originals that I had no idea about, so I gotta jump on these OGs.
Oh man, War of the Roses, Michael Douglas and... Kathleen Turner and Danny DeVito. You definitely got to check that out.
Yeah, I totally do. A buddy of mine messaged me after he saw that I posted that Amy and I went and saw The Roses and was like, this is not as good as the OG. And I'm like, what do you mean the OG? So I did a little deep dive and found, I knew that it was based on a novel, but I had no idea there was a movie from 1989 with those 3. So I will have to check it out. But this one, it was very entertaining. We laughed a lot and we had a good time with it.
Oh, that's so great to hear. I'm so excited to see Kate McKinnon in that role.
Yeah, McKinnon was great, as she always is.
I love everyone in that movie. I definitely have to see it.
Agreed. Yes, I think you'll enjoy it.
Awesome.
And the final film I watched was Vee, get ready, drumroll, another documentary.
Son of a bitch!
Yeah, I got home yesterday after dropping Amy off at work and was like, you know what? I wanted to watch the new Lily James movie that just came out on streaming, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch another documentary. And I actually waited until Amy got home because she's a big fan of the movie that this documentary is based on. This is Jaws at 50, the definitive inside story on the making of Jaws.
Ooh, was that it? I guess that was good if it's the last movie you want to talk about this week.
It was awesome. Yeah, an hour and a half. It's on Disney Plus. It is killer. No pun intended. And of course, it came out 50 years after the release of Jaws because right now Jaws is in theaters. And I plan to see it before it is out. It's just hasn't happened yet, but it will. But this documentary was really great. I've watched just about every documentary on Jaws that I can. I've loved that movie since I was a child.
Really?
And this one was a little bit more of an insider's look at the production. A lot of great interview material with Steven Spielberg about how he was just completely traumatized with the entire production, and of course clips from John Williams from his documentary are incorporated as well, and hearing from a lot of the small role cast of this movie about being on the set of Jaws was really, really awesome. So if you're a fan of the movie, highly recommend Jaws at 50, the definitive inside story.
Cool.
Yeah. So that is what I watched over the last week.
Awesome. I'm so glad that you're watching enough for the both of us still.
Absolutely. And next week, it will happen again.
I bet it will.
Yeah. It is now time to get into our picks for this week. The theme for this episode is 90s comic book movies, even though mine is more of a comic strip, but we'll get into that later. V, I think it's time to blast off through the skies of Hollywood. What do you say?
And kick some Nazi ass.
Hell yeah.
All right, I'm really excited to talk about this movie. I have loved it since I was a kid. Since I saw it for the very first time, I want to say I was maybe 8. My parents got this movie right after it was released in June of 91. That's when it came out in theaters, at least.
Nice.
There are a couple reasons why I've always loved this movie. First and foremost, because there are airplanes. I grew up right next to a small municipal airport and have been in and out of planes, flying them a little bit since I was about 12 years old, when my grandmother bought me my very first flying lesson.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
But airplanes are only one of the reasons why I absolutely love this movie and have since I was a child. I love everything about this film. The style, the score, the time period, the location, the costumes, the actors in it. I am talking about 1991's The Rocketeer.
Yeah. Oh, so good.
So good! And in the 90s, studios started trying to make comic book adaptations of movies. There are several others that we could have talked about that came out in the 90s, including The Phantom and The Shadow. But none of them really ever did very well, unfortunately, which is why it took several decades more. I mean, other than Batman, nothing really did that well.
Right. Yeah, no, it's so true.
And that's why it took until 2001 with Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man to really kick things off.
Definitely. So good.
So these two movies this week, I believe, really fit our criteria of underrated, maybe forgotten gems.
I would agree with both of those statements.
I think a lot of people our age might be easily reminded of these films, but most people don't think of them and go back to them as frequently as maybe they'd want to.
Sure.
Okay, so this is what The Rocketeer is about. It is October 1938 in Los Angeles, back in the era of golden age film stars like Errol Flynn, Clark Gable. I'll talk about Errol Flynn again in a little bit. Also Betty Page, and LA was surrounded by orange groves. Neither of our older apartments were even thoughts at the time, let alone built.
I know, right? Well, actually, I think the building I lived in Hollywood, DeMille Manor, had been built by 1938.
Well, that one, yes, especially because it held the MGM Lion for a hot second. No, I was thinking of some of the other apartments that you and I have had.
Got it. Yes, no, my first apartment in North Hollywood very likely was just a dirt lot.
Or an orange grove. So this movie centers on a young man named Cliff, played by Billy Campbell, who, unfortunately, his career never really took off, and I don't understand why, because A, I think he's a decent actor, and B, he has that classic Hollywood look.
Oh, totally.
But other than a show that he was on for a long time, Once and Again, he's really only been on TV movies or kind of those low-budget, direct-to-video type films. He was in I Know What You Did Last Summer, which you just watched a couple weeks ago and you hated.
I loathed it, but I did notice that it was him. He had a gray beard, and I was like, I know this guy. And then I was walking out of the theater, and it clicked.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh my God, he's
still
the Rocketeer.
And he's still hot. And he plays...
Still a very good-looking dude, yeah.
And he plays Cliff in the movie. And his good friend, Peavy, is an older gentleman played by Alan Arkin. Now, Alan Arkin you will recognize because not only was he in 2 other movies that we've picked previously, he was in Grosse Pointe Blank as the therapist.
Yes.
Just so many good scenes. And he also plays one of the detectives in the movie Gattaca, which I picked a couple months ago.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He plays the grandpa in Little Miss Sunshine. That's what he's most well known for. Unfortunately, he passed away about 10 years ago. But I never, ever put together until a couple years ago when I rewatched this film that was Alan Arkin because he's got hair, he's younger, he's got a mustache, he's got glasses.
Mustache. I know.
Totally hit him.
It totally, absolutely did the same for me. I think last time I watched this movie was within like the 7-year range.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, holy shit, no kidding.
Yeah.
And then other people show up and you're like, what?
There are a ton of character actors in this movie who you will absolutely recognize.
Totally. One of which is in my pick this week.
Well, that's because everybody's in your pick this week.
I know.
It's such a stacked cast. Jesus.
Yes.
But yes.
Hey, that's the second week in a row. Stacked cast flicks.
Which for you is actually not that common. I'm usually the one to pick those movies.
Also true.
But yes, I'll get into the actor who is in both of our movies in just a second. But Cliff is a young man. He's a young pilot who has the very dangerous job of being a racer. Airplane races are still incredibly dangerous. I went to one last year, and the next day they actually had a horrible accident, and 2 of the pilots died. So they're still very intense, very dangerous, but also air shows and air races are still very incredible and very badass. And so Cliff is a young pilot, and Peavy is his friend who's a little bit older, who is an inventor, who's a mechanic, who builds planes. And so the 2 of them together are a perfect pairing because Peavy builds these badass engines and airplanes that go really, really fast, and Cliff flies them. And that's how this movie opens. It's actually the very first flight of this true airplane. This airplane did exist. It was called GB. Yeah, it was called the GB Racer. It was nicknamed the Widowmaker and the Flying Coffin because it was so hard to fly and prone to crashing, and it killed so many pilots. That's what the nickname was for this plane.
Wow, that's macabre.
Well, and these pilots were, think about the old school pilots or old school motorcycle racers back in the 30s when they did the wooden tracks and ovals, and they would crash and their motorcycles would go into the crowds and crowds would die too. I mean, it was so much crazier back in the day. Oh yeah. I
don't know any of that world at all.
Oh, I'll show you. I'll talk to you about some old school races, cars and bikes that, spectators would die all the time because there was no safety barriers back then. It was insane.
That's madness.
Yeah, and so the GBUs in this film was only allowed to land a couple of times because it's so hard on the frame and because this plane was originally started to be built in 1931. But they did actually use a real version of this plane in order to shoot some of these scenes, which is really cool. And at the time, it was the fastest plane in the world.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
It had an 800 horsepower motor and set a speed record of 252 miles an hour.
Oh my gosh. Now, does that coincide with when Howard Hughes was the fastest man on the planet after he had that test with that plane? Do you know which one I'm talking about?
I know that Howard was testing planes that were going very fast. I don't know exactly the timeline, but I am very excited to get into Howard Hughes in just a little bit. And
Sweet.
So...
Oh, that's right. Howard Hughes is also depicted in this movie.
Yes,
wow.
He is. Yeah.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
I was thinking more of the Aviator moment, but I can't remember when you saw the Aviator last, but that's on my
pick. God,
pick in the future.
10 years ago, maybe?
Oh, well, yeah. It's coming up, I think. Anyway. Keep going. Sorry.
No, not a problem. And the reproduction of this airplane that was used in the film that Billy Campbell could get in, and they did a lot of close-up shots and stuff like that, and they could climb on it and everything. It's actually in the Museum of Flight in Seattle, Washington. I really want to go check it out.
Cool.
Yeah. And another vehicle he uses, which goes hand in hand with an airplane, is Cliff shows up to the airfield on a motorcycle, because of course he does. Mm-hmm. And that is a 1929 Harley-Davidson twin cam. It's such a cool bike. Not as cool.
It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, not as cool as the sidecars and motorcycles that they used in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, but still pretty damn cool. And so Cliff and Peavy are out testing this plane. They spent 3 years of their lives and all of their savings building it so they can start winning races. And Cliff takes it out on this test flight, and it's amazing. He's loving it. Things are going really, really well. But unfortunately, he drives over this field where 2 cars are in what looks to be a car chase. And it turns out that there are 2 guys in a car who have stolen something and cops following behind them. Well, this is 1938. A whole bunch of Tommy guns get pulled out, and they're shooting at each other. And one of them sees the airplane coming over them and unfortunately shoots up at Cliff in this plane, hits the plane, and then destroys the plane. It starts spewing out oil and all this crap, and he has a crash landing.
Oh, yeah.
Thankfully, he's okay, but the car chase continues onto the airfield, and these 2 bad guys who have stolen something that we don't know what it is yet, it's just a big case, fly into one of the hangars, and then they drive away, and the FBI and cops are still chasing them. They get apprehended at one point after a rather fiery crash. The remaining criminal says what he stole has been destroyed in that crash, and go to hell, basically.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's what the FBI tells Cliff and Peavy about their now wrecked airplane is, tough titties, your airplane, even though you crashed it, and we absolutely had a hand in it because our guys not only shot at it, but ran into it too, you're not going to get any compensation. And so they're left, unfortunately, rather at a loss. Because they've lost everything.
Yeah.
And as they're going back into the hangar and everything's getting cleaned up and the authorities are leaving, Cliff goes to sit in their backup airplane, which is not that great. He slams into something with his butt. And he's like, oh man, this seat's really hard. And what is it? and he pulls it out, and who knows what it is, but it looks amazing.
Oh, yeah.
And it happens to have a harness on it like a backpack. And they're figuring out what the heck this is. And it turns out it's a rocket pack.
It does look really badass. I'll never forget it. The first time I saw this movie and they unveil it, just taken out of that pack, I'm like, whoa.
Oh, yes, as a little kid.
What is this?
It was amazing. It looked so futuristic. It looked so incredible. And when he then straps it on, Cliff decides to, hey, it looks like a backpack. Cool. Let me put this on me and see what's up. And between him and Peavy, they realize what this thing has been built for. And of course, nobody's ever seen anything like this before. It'd be like if you and I all of a sudden saw the Stargate gate and it's real and you're like, holy shit,
totally.
Right? Something completely futuristic, right? Peavy being Peavy, a bit of an inventor, and Cliff being the daredevil that he is, they really want to try it out, and they strap it to a statue from the airfield, which is a great scene.
Oh, I love that scene. So good.
And so now Cliff and Peavy start figuring out how Cliff is going to maybe fly in this thing, because why not? These guys are airplane guys. This is what they live for. And behind the scenes, Cliff has a girlfriend. Does he ever?
Yeah, he does.
Does he ever? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Her name is Jenny Blake, and she is played by Jennifer Connelly.
She is the reason that I go for the dark hair women.
I totally understand.
I was 5 going on 6, and I'll never forget when he goes to pick her up for the date. I was like, what?
Yeah, I'm sure you no words.
Totally tongue-tied. Could not get anything out of my 5-year-old head except for, wow, that is a bombshell.
She is, and has such a perfect look for this time period. I think it fits so well for this movie. And this is actually the 4th movie of hers we've picked so far.
I know. I was just thinking about that too.
This is my 3rd because I picked Requiem for a Dream and Labyrinth previously.
Yeah.
Obligatory David Bowie mention. And you've also picked Alita.
Yes.
She will be in future episodes of ours as well, because she's also in Dark City. She's in Top Gun Maverick. Any opportunity we have to talk about Jennifer Connelly, we will.
Yes, we will.
And Jenny Blake is an actress. Well, she's trying to be, at least, in 1930s Los Angeles. And she is currently playing background, which is great. I love the old sets and the old Hollywood filming, because you and I working in that business, the old school lighting and those sets that were built that were so standardized. It was so funny. I just love looking at that historical perspective of making movies. But anyway, she's on set on a medieval movie with Hollywood movie star Neville Sinclair. He is absolutely an homage to Errol Flynn.
Oh, I figured as much.
With the mustache, with the type of movie that they're doing, with his status as a playboy, it just all fits, and you can totally tell that's what they're going for.
Definitely.
Which is cool, because we've talked about Errol Flynn before when I picked The Adventures of Robin Hood from 1938.
Yes.
And Neville Sinclair ends up playing a big part in this movie, pun intended, I guess, because of the fact that there are reasons why he's also looking for this rocket. Because everybody is. The criminals are trying to, and the criminals are actually paid by Eddie Valentine, a mob boss, who's played by Paul Sorvino.
Yeah.
He's the Capulet father in Romeo and Juliet, for those of you who've seen Romeo and Juliet, which is probably most of you.
I would hope so. He plays Paulie in Goodfellas.
And along with the FBI and the authorities, Howard Hughes is looking for this rocket pack because it turns out he's the one who designed it. Howard Hughes is played by Terry O'Quinn in this movie. He was the first person or instance in media to introduce me to Howard Hughes back when I was a kid, and I was immediately drawn to this character. I thought he was so cool.
Oh, yeah.
Terry O'Quinn did such a great job portraying Howard Hughes. I don't know what it was, but he had this gravitas about him that just instantly drew me in, and I thought, man, this guy is really smart. He knows what he's talking about. He's got this presence that everybody's listening to him. I want to know more about him. And then I found out Howard Hughes was actually a real person, and I went down some rabbit holes when I was about 10 at that point.
Nice.
In Terry O'Quinn, you might recognize him as John Locke, the man who started off in a wheelchair in Lost. He was in the entire run of the show Lost. And this brings in the Nazis, and you all who've listened before know how much I love whenever Nazis get their asses handed to them in movies. It's one of my favorite tropes. It's one of my favorite realities of life, actually. Anytime a Nazi can get punched, I'm here for it. And so whenever that plot can come into a movie, it instantly makes me like that movie at least 10% more. So that's another reason why I love The Rocketeer so much, because this is 1938. This is before the invasion in Europe, and things are starting to kick off a little bit. There's a newsreel that shows before a movie that Cliff and Jenny go to. And so there's a little bit of a reference there. And so from there, we go back to Cliff and Peavy, who have now designed a little bit of a suit for this rocket, because when they tested it out on the statue, the head got knocked off the statue, and so Cliff mentions that they are going to need a helmet, and Peavy designs one, which I think looks badass. It looks like a hood ornament from a car from that era. Very Art Deco.
Yes.
And that's another reason why I like this movie. Just the design with the copper, it's just so freaking cool. And
it is.
At one point, there's a friend of theirs who gets into an emergency situation in an airplane, and Cliff has no other choice than to pull the rocket pack out, put his helmet on, and try to save his friend, even though it hasn't been tested, even though they have no idea what exactly is going to happen when he straps this rocket to himself. But he's a test pilot. He's a racer. That's exactly the kind of personality that he has. And one thing leads to another, where he not only saves his friend's life, but there are tons and tons of witnesses and media around, because it's at an air race and an air show that weekend. And so now there's this Rocket Man that everybody wants to know about, but it also puts that rocket pack out on everybody's radar. Everybody starts to figure out where it is, and this is where we get all of these different characters: the mob boss, Neville Sinclair, Howard Hughes, the FBI, the cops, everybody culminating on this search for this rocket pack, because everybody has different reasons to find this rocket pack. And so for the rest of the movie, Cliff and Peavy and Jenny are trying to stay safe. They're trying to figure out exactly where this came from, because in reality, they do want to return it to its rightful owner, in theory, if the owner is a good person, of course. And there are a bunch of evil, nefarious forces pulling at them, trying to get this pack from him by any means necessary. This is an action film. There is gunfights. There are fistfights. This is 1930s Hollywood and LA in its heyday. And I love this movie so much. I could go on, but that is the plot of The Rocketeer for anybody who hasn't seen it or just needed a reminder of how amazing this film is. I'm so excited to talk about it on the podcast this week. And John, I need to hand the mic over to you so you can talk about how much you love this film too, or else I'm just going to keep gushing.
Which would be fine. It is a film worth gushing over. Like I mentioned just a few minutes ago, the movie, when it came out, I did not see it in theaters. I always wished I had, but I never got the opportunity. But I did see it on VHS. I believe my parents rented it for the family one night, and I completely fell in love with it for most of the same reasons that you have. It's just a really fascinating look at Hollywood back then, and the way they tie in the mob and Nazis and Howard Hughes and aviation and superhero action into this movie is so badass. Joe Johnston did a really kick-ass job directing this movie. I hope you list off some of his credits, because if people don't know him by name, you will definitely know his movies, this being one of them. And coming from a comic book, there is one character in particular that's very much like my pick this week. He's the big murderous thug that is sent out to off people. And I'll never forget when I first saw him, and he's like, "Where is it? The rocket?" Like, I was like, what the hell is this guy?
Terrifying.
He's like this completely horrifying, especially for a child. But other than that, I always loved Timothy Dalton in this movie because I completely bought into his whole act. And like I said, Jennifer Connelly is one of the reasons why I am a very big fan of dark-haired ladies. And then, of course, when she goes out on that little dinner with T. Dalt, and she comes down the stairs in that white dress and the red lips and the hair. Oh, good Lord. That chills down my spine.
Did something for both of us, I think.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. 1,000% was
a core
an
memory.
awakening for me. Yeah, absolutely. And I remember watching the movie a lot. I got it for Christmas, I think, the next year on VHS. It was on repeat. Not only for Jennifer Connelly, but for everything else. Alan Arkin's hilarious in this movie. Paul Sorvino's great. Like I said, I love Timothy Dalton as Neville Sinclair. And the whole thing about aviation, I really was drawn to. I'm a fan of that kind of thing, more so maritime stuff, but just learning about the plane that they were flying at the beginning, I had no idea. I thought it was made for the movie. I've never read any of the comic book for this, but I also love that Margot Martindale is in this movie. Oh, do you?
I own the graphic novel.
Nice.
And yes, Margot Martindale's awesome. She's another character actress, and she was really good in the film.
So it's just it's a great movie from 1991 and so much fun. I think the last time I watched it was within about 7 years. I think it was right around the time Disney Plus launched. And I remember like, oh, I wonder if the Rocketeer's on here. And then, of course, what happens? I found it on VHS at Amoeba. I own it on VHS. But if there is ever a 4K, I would absolutely love that, because not only is it really stylized well, the cinematography is great, but that soundtrack is fucking killer. And that is my love for the Rocketeer. So let's just keep talking about it. We got a little bit more time.
Absolutely. Yes. Okay, great. Let's definitely keep talking about it, especially because thank you so much. I forgot to mention who plays Neville Sinclair. I just talked about him as the inspiration was from Errol Flynn. But yes, you're right.
Oh, Timothy completely thought you'd mentioned Timothy Dalton. Maybe you
one
did,
of us did.
Yeah, there we go. It's out there.
I don't think I did, especially because I didn't mention any of his credits. So yes, I'm pretty sure I'd forgotten it. So thank you for bringing that up. Timothy Dalton. Remember when he was in Hot Fuzz, your pick from a couple months ago?
Hell yeah.
Oh my
of course.
God, he's so funny in that movie. Most people will recognize him because he was in 2 James Bond movies, though. Which I've never seen those movies because I'm just... my dad was a purist James Bond fan, and so we only ever watched the Sean Connery James Bonds. And then he skipped over Roger Moore, he skipped over Timothy Dalton, but then Pierce Brosnan was cast, and he was into it, and so we watched the Pierce Brosnan films as well. And so there's that period of like the 70s and 80s where I just didn't watch James Bond movies. I still haven't. And one day I'll get into it. I've been introduced to a couple of Roger Moore of James Bond films, and they're okay, but I gotta go with Sean Connery.
I've only seen one Sean Connery, and I've seen all the Pierce Brosnan ones.
Nice.
And that's it.
That's fine.
I've never seen a Roger Moore or a Timothy Dalton.
Well, you've seen Daniel Craig.
I've seen 2 of those,
Yeah, not great. Anyway, so back to the Rocketeer. One of the other things I wanted to bring up when we're still talking about the movie itself before we get into BTS is it's funny.
Oh, yeah.
There are some really funny lines, and I talked a little bit about his helmet, and the reason I bring up that he looks a little bit like a hood ornament from a car back in the day is that Alan Arkin literally says that when there's this big crescendo of the score, and it comes up, and he's getting dressed, and that montage, right, where every superhero dons their suit for the very first time, and he puts on the helmet, and it's so badass and amazing, and he turns around, and he looks cool, and he goes, how do I look? And Alan Arkin goes, like a hood ornament. It's so deadpan and awful. I was like, moment ruined. It's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious.
It's so funny.
It brings some levity and some reality into this situation of like, dude, you're dressed up right now. What is happening?
Yeah.
Which is probably how you and I would react to the other one being dressed up as a superhero.
Very likely, yeah.
And then during his very first test flight of the rocket pack, when he's going through the laundry that someone's trying to hang up outside, and he's busting through all these different things, and he goes through this field of like wheat or corn or something, and these two farmers are sitting back and they go, "Big gopher." As a kid, I thought that was hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
And yes, you're right. Joe Johnston, we have mentioned him on this podcast before, but he's not a really well-known named director like, say, Christopher Nolan or Steven Spielberg, right? The household directors that people know of. But Joe Johnston has directed, especially for millennials, he directed Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Jumanji, Jurassic Park 3, Hidalgo, your previous pick of October Sky during one of our reviewer request episodes. And his work on The Rocketeer specifically is what led to him being hired to direct the first Captain America movie.
Oh, no kidding. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, Joe Johnston. He's kind of a badass when it comes to directing.
Definitely.
And the writer of the original graphic novel, Dave Stevens, he had a trove of research. He gave the production designer of The Rocketeer his entire reference library. So that included blueprints for all of the hangars, the bleachers, the full schematics of the rocket pack itself. It's actually called an autogyro, by the way. That's the technical term. Photos and drawings of the Bulldog Cafe, the uniforms for the air circus staff. Like, that's how much he went into the minutia of designing this world that he created, which is so cool.
Yeah, that's pretty badass.
And so Dave Stevens, the writer, said that the production team literally took the reference book and built the sets from that, and that was it. Like, they didn't even have to design anything; they just built it all.
Awesome.
Which is fucking cool, and it worked. It absolutely worked. You are immersed in this world. The costumes, everything about it feels so period authentic.
Totally.
And there's a gum that Cliff chews all the time. It is a Lucky Gum of pilots. It's called Beeman's. I started chewing this gum after watching this movie, and I chewed it all the way until I was like 10 years old. Loved that gum.
Oh, wow.
So it's been a while since I want to try it again. I should find it.
Yeah, totally.
Beeman's gum is also chewed by another pilot in a future pick of mine, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's used in The Right Stuff, which you haven't seen before.
Oh, cool.
But you own a VHS copy of it, I think.
You're right, I do.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing it at your place.
This movie, I do, have the double VHS of The Right Stuff. I look forward to watching that.
Awesome.
In the future. And this movie, The Rocketeer, is one of the main reasons why I am such a gum chewer. I chew gum a lot.
Same.
And Amy, my wife, just the other day was like, "How come you chew so much gum?" I'm like, "I just do." I'm also very conscious of my breath, and I don't want to have bad breath, but I chew gum in the car, everywhere. All the time.
Oh, yeah, same. I have gum everywhere, too. And for me, it's about always having movement, because I'm a very fidgety person and have a lot of energy.
Yes.
And gum really helps with that.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, okay, we're buying each other a pack of Beeman's gum, and we're going to try it and see if it's any good.
Perfect. Yeah, let's do it.
I remember it being a little bit licoricey, if I remember correctly, but it's been literal decades since I chewed that gum, so don't quote me. But this was a big production. This was a Disney production, which is actually why it's streaming on Disney Plus. I'm jumping ahead a little bit. But that also means that a lot of actors were considered for this role, a lot of big 90s actors, and Billy Campbell.
I can imagine.
Oh, yeah. And then Billy Campbell actually ended up winning the role partly because he read the graphic novel cover to cover and then got his haircut the exact way of his character in the graphic novel.
Oh, all right.
I thought he did a great job.
That's really cool.
I'm shocked that he didn't become a bigger name. He had that
I know.
look.
He's... Totally. I know he was in Enough with Jennifer Lopez. I never did see it.
Oh, God.
But he was in that. He was the abusive husband, I think.
Which is, again, that's why I say he's a good actor, because he was so believable as an abusive husband. He scared the shit out of me when I watched that as a teenager.
Oh, damn. I saw it one time. I was like, hey, that's the Rocketeer.
And the set used for Neville Sinclair's mansion, because he is a very successful actor, it's the Ennis House. It is located in Los Feliz. And it was designed by Frank Lloyd Wright, built in 1924.
Wow.
And you might recognize it because it was used in the film Blade Runner.
Oh, very cool.
It has very unique columns, and so it's easily recognizable.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I have talked about steady cams before, the cameras that they use when they're running or doing a lot of action scenes, but the camera stays really nice and steady. And keeping a clean shot. Disney designed the shaky cam for this movie.
Oh.
it introduces vibrations into the picture, and it was used in the scenes filmed inside the blimp.
Oh, all right. Nice.
I won't say any more because I don't want to spoil anything, but you will know exactly what I'm talking about when you watch it.
Yes.
And lastly, after Billy Campbell and Jennifer Connelly met each other on the set of this film, they began dating and were together and engaged for 5 years.
Oh, good for him.
And her. He's hot.
And her.
So anything else you want to add about The Rocketeer?
So many things. There's just a couple of spoilers that we don't do here, so I won't get into that. But watching it this time around, I completely had forgotten about how Neville Sinclair gets Jenny to go to dinner with him. And when I watched it this time around, I was like, oh wow, I completely forgot about that whole thing. And what's also funny about the scenes with Neville Sinclair on the set that Jenny's doing background in is the amount of times that they've done takes and you hear of a nepotism hire and an actress that does not know how to actually deliver the line, and then finally she kind of gets it all right and they move on. But there's one point where Neville accidentally stabs his co-star and he kneels down. He's like, hey, get a stretcher in here. Let's get him to the hospital. And the actor looks at Neville and goes, was I stealing too much of the scene? Like, because everybody knows that Neville is very narcissistic and extremely passionate about being the only one on screen and with the best lines and all that. It's a very, very early Edward Norton, if you will, because that really is kind of how Edward Norton works. But I thought that was hysterical. And I always loved the fact that there's a moment with a Hollywood landmark and you find out something very important about it in this movie, and I always loved that as a kid. And the whole Griffith Observatory situation too.
Oh God,
I loved that. Gosh,
this is my favorite filming location in all of Los Angeles.
Oh, it's so great. I would hike up there almost every morning between shows that I was working on. I would take Bernie and Falcor, and we'd have a great time. I loved that little hill.
Well, and speaking of Neville Sinclair, I totally forgot to mention that the set that they're on is exactly like The Adventures of Robin Hood, and he's got the hair
totally
like Errol Flynn, and the guy who's his enemy is like the Sheriff of Nottingham in that movie. I mean, it's so drawn from that. I love it so much. But there's this one point with Jenny Blake and Neville Sinclair together, so Jennifer Connelly and Timothy Dalton, and I never ever understood that scene as a kid. And
I know exactly which one you're talking about.
At one point, she said, I finally did a scene with Neville Sinclair. I'm like, it just completely flew over my head when I was a child. And now, as an adult watching that scene, I'm like, oh, I totally get it. And I love the fact that, and we did not mention this yet, and we absolutely have to, I love that Jenny Blake is not a damsel in distress.
Oh, me too. Yeah, she can hold her own, absolutely, and she does so well.
She does. She's intelligent. She's shrewd. She does not get the wool pulled over her eyes in any way, shape, or form. She stands up for herself, and she is, oh God, she's such a badass in a lot of ways, too. I love the whole scene at the club, and when even the jazz song when they begin that's such a wonderful song. It's so perfect for this movie. I've loved that song ever since I was a kid because of this movie. And then talking about Howard Hughes and being at his facility, there's a point where there's a model that's used, and Howard Hughes goes, "Oh, son of a bitch, the thing can fly." That's the spruce goose.
I was going to say, yep, that's totally the spruce.
And now that we've seen The Aviator and know more about Howard Hughes, we totally understand what that reference was and why he said that specific line is because that's what Congress went after him for war profiteering, saying like he built this airplane that would never fly, and there was a big challenge there, which I won't spoil because we're doing The Aviator in the future.
Yes.
But yeah, there's so many little tidbits and moments that we could keep talking about that make this movie so wonderful and so well crafted. And I'm so sad that it did not do well at all. It had a $35 million budget, and it only made $47 million worldwide.
Oh, damn. Yeah, that's not very good. That's too bad.
And I'm hopeful that some VHS sales helped it out. But again, Billy Campbell didn't become this big household name. Now, Jennifer Connelly, she's always had really cool choices for her films. She's always gone a little off the beaten path. She's a lot like Daniel Radcliffe in that way, right? Like, she had a bunch of success as a kid, and now she kind of does her own thing and just does interesting scripts. And I love that for her. Yeah, it's too bad that this movie didn't get the traction that I believe it deserved.
Oh, I completely agree. It's very sad to hear that it didn't do so well in its original release, but I feel like it's more of a cult Disney classic, especially live action, because Disney, when we were talking about Mary Poppins, they did so many live action movies over animation movies that there are more live action than animation from Disney, and this is one of the... I don't like all of them, that's for sure, but this is certainly one of the best ones.
Well, I think when we did White Fang and Iron Will, one of them was...
Oh, yeah.
Iron Will was number 100, right? And that was from 94.
I think so, yeah.
I was looking through the list of Disney animated movies like a month ago, actually, for us. And it was cool because looking through it, you and I have seen just about every single one. And we cannot say the same for all of their live action movies.
No, that's for sure. Definitely not.
So that is The Rocketeer. I hope I've reminded you of this film or gotten you excited enough or interested enough to give it a chance. Like I said, it's streaming right now on Disney Plus, and I hope you all give it a shot. Even as adults, this movie absolutely holds up. While kids can watch it, it's not a kid's film.
Well, I don't know. I watched it when I was very young, and it wasn't like a movie that my parents took me away from or anything.
It's kid-friendly.
Gotcha.
But the themes and the script, adults will have a hell of a good time watching this film.
Agreed. Totally.
And where a lot of that stuff will go over the kid's head.
Yes, it will.
One last thing I wanted to say. There is an Enigma machine in this movie. Again, Nazis.
Oh, yeah.
The production designers found a real Enigma machine to use during those scenes.
Oh, badass.
Which is awesome. All right, now I'm done. That is The Rocketeer.
Okay.
Please watch it. Let us know what you think. And now it's time to move over to the other 90s comic book pick of this week. Well, comic strip, as you've said. I'm very interested to hear all of that knowledge.
Oh, yeah.
Another movie that we've both loved since we were kids has an incredible style to it, just like The Rocketeer in very different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Really stoked to step into this world. John, take it away.
All right, let's do it. Dick Tracy calling Dick Tracy. That's my pick this week. From 1990, I've loved this movie as long as I've loved The Rocketeer, although I have not watched Dick Tracy in at least 30 years.
Oh, you've been missing out.
Fuck yeah, I have. Good God. I have this movie on VHS. I had the talking watch. I had a yellow hat. I was Dick fucking Tracy. I loved this movie so much as a kid. I don't even know how many times I watched it. I watched it a lot. And not only because the movie's so badass, but just like The Rocketeer, this movie has a bombshell of a woman in it. And
we're not even into blondes, and we think that.
We're not into blondes, and I'm not at all. But good Lord, Madonna was so gorgeous as Breathless Mahoney in this movie. And I love the name, Breathless Mahoney. She definitely left me breathless as a young man. But now, as an adult man, I'm still like, God damn, wow.
We were just talking about musicians and singers who've gone over into acting, and we did not bring up Madonna. She's good. She was good.
She was great. She was great. So good. So sultry and seductive.
Voice.
But we'll get into that. Oh, the voice. Yeah, but we'll get into that in a little bit after I break down Dick Tracy. This movie, like I mentioned, 1990. The comic strip by Chester Gould started in 1931. It was in the newspaper.
Awesome.
And just evolved. Now now that we're so far into history, we have full-on comic book series and graphic novels. And Disney actually put out a trilogy of comic books that gave more exposition of the backstory of this particular storyline of Dick Tracy.
Oh.
Yeah, because this movie was distributed by Touchstone, because Disney and Jeffrey Katzenberg at the time were like, this is just a little bit too racy to be released under the Walt Disney umbrella,
fair.
Let's just throw it at Touchstone, which is totally fine. I'm glad we got one, because the movie's so badass. But Dick Tracy, the title role of this movie, is played by Warren Beatty. He also directed this movie and produced it. He bought the rights in the early 80s for $3 million.
Whoa. Holy shit,
yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say like 200 grand.
Nope, $3 fucking million.
Oh my God.
And it was in a lot of pre-production for several years before it finally did go into production, but we'll get into all that in just a minute. Other than Warren Beatty, we have Glenn Headley, who we talked about during my pick of Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Mm-hmm. Love her.
Paul Sorvino, who we just discussed from The Rocketeer. We also have Charlie Corsmo. If you remember him by name, he was Robin Williams' son in Hook. We also have Charles Durning, Mandy Patinkin, Dick Van Dyke.
Yes, I totally forgot he was in this film.
So did I. And I completely forgot that the bad guy in this movie, Big Boy Caprice, was played by Al Pacino.
Could never forget that. Oh my God.
Not at all. But of course, watching it this time around, I'm like, gosh, so many scenes are coming back to me from the trailer. So many scenes are coming back to me from my childhood because I loved this movie. So yeah, Dick Tracy, kick-ass flick. The script was written by Jim Cash and Jack Epps Jr. And Dick Tracy is centered on not only Dick Tracy, but the city. And everybody's kind of like, well, the city kind of looks like Chicago. So a lot of people think that it's set in Chicago, but it's set in an unnamed city, really. Kind of like Sin City. This is the first, I would say, of the Sin City type of world.
Oh man, if they remade Dick Tracy today, it would be a lot like Sin City. That's true.
Yeah. Totally, because the opening
Great
credits are
shout-out.
in black and white, and then there's a lot of bright colors. I mean, gosh, the yellow hat and the yellow jacket, so badass.
Iconic.
And the reds and the cars, the purple car that Breathless Mahoney drives is so kick-ass. I used to have cars, little micro machines that were like Dick Tracy cars, and I would just play, yeah, Dick Tracy was my shit. So anyway, Dick Tracy set in the city. This film opens up with us following a young boy into a warehouse where a card game is going down between a couple of big gangsters of the city. This turns into a massacre by rival gang members, and the kid, played by Charlie Corsmo, has witnessed this event. He runs out, luckily escapes gunfire, Tommy guns, because this is the 30s. So this movie's got Tommy guns out the yin yang as well, which is so bad. There's so much good fucking action in this movie.
It's crazy good. I'd forgotten how amazing the action is in this movie.
Absolutely. And the dialogue is also witty as hell. It's so sharp and it's so comic book, but it's that sophisticated comic book. It wasn't like they were trying to be cheeseball. It just worked, especially with the backdrop of the city, which every pan up is so incredible. It's like neon, very vibrant. It's almost like opening a box of crayons and you have all these colors as a backdrop of the city in Dick Tracy.
Absolutely. I love the style of this movie so much.
Hell yeah. So after the kid witnesses this event, we're introduced to Breathless Mahoney at the club that she sings at. We find out she is kind of in cahoots with Lips, played by Paul Sorvino, and Lips has some lips.
You will not recognize a ton of people in this movie because of the amazing makeup work in it.
Yeah, the makeup is pretty incredible, and we'll get into that a little bit later. And another thing that's really kick-ass about this movie is that the makeup artist really did what he could to bring all of the characters that are drawn this way to life. And I gotta say, looks pretty fucking badass. Like Littleface always tripped me out as a kid.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Big Boy Caprice always kind of tripped me out too with the crazy shoulders. Oh, Prune Face was so twisted looking.
Brick Top.
Yeah, Mumbles, played by Dustin Hoffman, which I actually did not mention.
Uh-huh.
And there was No Face, the character No Face tripped me out.
Scary.
Reminded me of, totally scary. Reminded me of the voice that Princess Leia uses in Empire Strikes Back when she awakens Han Solo. Kind of reminded me of that.
That's it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's been itching the very back of my brain for several decades. That's such
Perfect.
Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, of course. So as Lips is getting arrested, quote unquote, he realizes that the people that are here to take him away are actually not police. They are henchmen of Big Boy Caprice, played by Al Pacino. And Pacino is one of the gangsters in the city along with Lips. But Big Boy Caprice is really about taking over the city, so he has Lips sign over his club where Breathless Mahoney sings at, and he ends up killing Lips. Now, this is the case Dick Tracy gets involved with. He tries to track down Lips after he hears about everything going on, and ultimately finds out that Big Boy Caprice has been trying to create an allegiance between all of the gangsters throughout the city, and Dick Tracy has a bit of an idea that Big Boy Caprice is now likely the man that everybody's answering to. And while this is happening on the other side of the city with Big Boy Caprice, and Dick Tracy and Tess, his kind of girlfriend, have unofficially adopted the kid who Dick Tracy ran into earlier in the movie outside that diner. And for the rest of the movie, we are along for this really kick-ass, comic book, vibrant, Danny Elfman-scored film, while Dick Tracy tries to figure out a way to take down Big Boy Caprice and the rest of the gangsters in the city, while Dick Tracy is also trying to figure out if he wants to raise this kid with Tess or not. When I watched it this last week, it just completely unlocked so many memories. Beyond the Batman soundtrack, everything else just started coming back to... Everything else has really started to resurface for me memory-wise, similar to when I watched The Rocketeer. I completely forgot how much I loved this movie. I am such a fan. I cannot wait, and I really hope that there will be a 4K release of this movie because it absolutely commands one with the way that it's shot. It's such a, like I said, the dialogue is sharp, but the way that it's shot is just so pristine. There's some really kick-ass comic book style shots in this movie. Early on, especially when Dick Tracy first gets the call on his watch and he and Tess are at the opera, that whole outline of them with it just so comic book badass. And then there's another one where it's just a backdrop of a red light and a door and a cop on a phone that gets shot. But it's all done through shadows. Just so cool. And like we mentioned earlier, the action in this movie is absolutely kick-ass. And I think this is the most hilarious that I have ever seen Al Pacino.
Yes.
I completely
yes.
forgot how fucking hilarious he is as Big Boy Caprice. Obviously, I was a lot younger. And the fact that all he does is quote presidents is fucking hilarious.
Incorrectly. Like every single quote is completely wrong.
It's ridiculous. It's
Not only
so
is
madness.
he misquoting things, but he's also attributing him to the wrong people.
Yeah. And he's trying to use them as a way of being like, I'm using these as a way to just show you that I'm a good guy. And like
I'm so smart.
He doesn't say any of that, but yeah.
No, he's trying to show
Jefferson,
that he's
Lincoln.
Yeah, and
There's only one Washington, and there's only one Caprice. I love that scene. It's so great. Tracy.
On
So
that part
good.
I love too. And Al Pacino being known for such a serious actor, the fact that he just went for it in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Completely unapologetic, over the top. I love him for that.
So awesome. And after he gets the club from Lips and he's doing the whole Broadway rehearsal with Madonna and the girls, unreal. It is unreal.
What the hell is
So
happening?
if only, absolutely. So if only to just see that scene, absolutely worth every hour and 45 minutes of your time. As an audience, I don't know how many of you out there have seen it, but V, I think you said that you recently watched it within the last 10 years.
Yes, I watched it, I want to say, within the last 6.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, you know what? It was 6 years ago. How was it now 6 years later?
Oh, amazing. Just as awesome as it was when I watched it when I was like 6. I love this movie so much. These two go hand in hand. It's such a natural pairing. Oh, I'm so happy for this episode. I hope at least our enthusiasm are contagious for our audience. And
I certainly hope so.
I've loved this movie forever. The style, the sets, the costumes, similar to The Rocketeer. It's just so very old school comic book. And yes, you're right. The vibrancy to this movie is nobody makes movies like this.
Nope.
I think it's actually a bit unique in the way that they made this film. And
1,000%.
Speaking
I completely agree.
Sin City, it is on the opposite side of the spectrum, right? Sin City is black and white and very stylized. This is bold colors in your face and very stylized, and they're both based on comic books. Danny Elfman's score, fantastic. I forgot to mention, James Horner is the one who scored The Rocketeer.
Oh, sweet.
He's The Mask of Zorro, Titanic, Avatar, etc. We love James Horner. We've mentioned him multiple times on this podcast. And so, yes, he's the one who scored The Rocketeer. But as an adult watching this movie now, I realize how horny this film is.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, my God. Madonna.
Yep, Madonna.
There are children watching this movie.
There are, yeah. And this got a PG rating in 1990 through Disney. And there is a scene that should have given this movie an R rating.
There is a nipple in this movie.
There are two. The shadows move at the right time.
Well, that is the point where one of my favorite lines of this entire movie is uttered. After Dick Tracy comes to the conclusion that Lips has been murdered. And so he goes to Breathless and says, what, no grief for Lips? And
I think Lips Manless is dead. And I want you to tell me who killed him. Or maybe you weren't on his side. Whose side are you on?
Side I'm always on. Mine.
No grief for Lips?
I'm wearing black underwear.
And she is.
And she is. Oh, God, yes. There's so many great lines in this film. When the kid comes into Dick Tracy and Tess Trueheart's lives, all the names in this movie are fantastic, too. Ugh.
Oh, hell yeah.
The kid says to Tess, I don't like dames. And she's like, yeah, me neither. I'm like, yeah,
I know,
Tess.
I love that.
Tess is my spirit animal. I love her so much.
I love when he takes the money off the table and she goes, "Do you want a broken arm?" And he just throws the money back.
She doesn't even look at him.
No.
Cool as a cucumber. And we were talking about when they were all rehearsing with Al Pacino when he takes over the club. I think one of the
Yes.
backup dancers is Minnie Driver.
Are you serious?
I swear it looked just like her, and that was right around the
Interesting.
time period. She looked young enough, and I remember her having a very bit part in GoldenEye a couple years later, and she looked...
wow.
It looked really similar. I think it might have been her. I've got to do a deeper dive. Couldn't find
I
anything
do
on
too,
Google,
yeah.
but I swear one of them was Minnie Driver, which would be even cooler, because, again,
that would be
we
pretty
said
badass.
it was a stacked cast.
It was, yeah.
And the kid, he's a little bit annoying because he's a kid, but the fact
Totally.
that there's that montage where every 5 seconds he's
yeah.
like, when do we eat? When do we eat? I'm like, yep,
Yeah.
that was me in my...
And he's eating a lot of good food.
Well, that was me in my teens and 20s. Ask my
Totally.
mom. All I wanted to do was eat when I had a crazy metabolism growing up.
Yeah, I was lucky enough with that too. Being on the swim team in high school, it literally was like, oh, dinner's over. I would go to In-N-Out and eat again. Like,
Yeah.
I had 2 dinners majority of my high school career.
I was a 3-season athlete in high school. I was playing sports the entire year. So yeah, right there with you.
Perfect.
And there's
Not a bad way to live.
I know, we should still do that. And there's a moment where Dick Tracy jumps out of a window and onto one of those old school big metal light poles.
Yeah.
Even when I was a kid, I noticed that he just slams into that thing and kind of rattles on it.
Totally.
And now as an adult, whenever I watch this movie as an adult, I always thought, that poor stuntman, I don't think he planned that angle on that light pole, because the way his head snaps back, it just looks like he was a little bit off on his landing.
He was interviewed about it, and
shit.
that was Warren Beatty.
No way.
Way.
Oh,
Yep, it was.
my God, that's amazing.
That's why he went too far forward.
Because he wasn't
He was
a stuntman.
he was asked about it like 2 years later at a film festival, and they're like, well, how'd that stuntman end up doing? And he goes, oh, that was me. I smashed my face up pretty good that night.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, what a badass. Okay, that makes me respect Warren Beatty even more. I like Warren Beatty. I
do
always thought
too.
He was super cool, and there's a bunch of movies we could do of his that I'm sure a lot of our audience would like. And we, when I talked about
Heaven
this,
Can Wait's a great one.
it is, yeah. And as long as we don't pick Ishtar, speaking of Dustin Hoffman, but
Well, Reds actually might come up because that was a pick of my dad's.
Oh, that's right.
Not too long ago.
yeah.
And yeah, that I haven't seen it, but one day. But one of my favorite movies with Warren Beatty is Bulworth. That movie from the late '90s, where he's a presidential candidate.
Yeah, Halle Berry's in
Oh
that
my
movie.
God, that movie! Yes, she is. But that movie is hysterical.
God, I have not seen that movie since the 90s. I would watch it again.
Yeah, totally worth it.
Well, and we talked about this right before we started recording. This Warren Beatty directs, produces, and stars in this film, and we were just talking about how he's probably at his desk going, so who's the hot young thing right now in 1990 who I could hire as Breathless Mahoney, who's gonna have the hots for me and try to kiss me?
Yeah.
It's like Madonna.
I'm gonna go with Madonna. There were 3 others in consideration, though, and all 3 of them I think would have worked just fine.
Tell me.
Sharon Stone
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
in the 90s,
Yes,
totally. But
You're
she
right.
is still hilarious and badass because she is in Nobody 2, and she cracked me the fuck up in that movie. Michelle Pfeiffer was another one.
100, like, no question.
Yeah, with
course.
the eyes and everything, especially after coming off of Batman Returns.
No,
Oh, yeah.
this was before Batman Returns, because Batman Returns was the highest grossing movie of 1992.
Oh, snap. Well,
Remember?
all right then. I am caught in incorrect information.
No, it's okay. It's only because I've answered your highest grossing question for 92 a couple times.
That's true, you have. But the last one, absolutely, especially in 1990, Kim Basinger.
Oh, God, yes. Another
Yeah,
Batman.
So all
along.
4 of them would have
Wait a minute.
totally sold.
Both of them being in Batman, that was awesome.
Yeah, I know, right?
It would have been funny if you were like Jennifer Connelly.
Yeah, that.
Too young.
Yeah,
Too young.
Could have worked. They have 2. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because Dick Tracy's definitely in his 40s, I would say.
Oh, and he's got some city miles on him.
Hell yeah, he does.
The only complaint I have about this film is that there are a couple of montages, as there should be. It's a comic book movie.
Yeah.
And I really like the montages. However, they're ballads by Madonna, and I don't think they
Right.
fit.
I agree with you. Yeah, it's a little out of place. I think the one time would have been fine.
Well, and I also think the one song that's more upbeat with that montage, the other montage, is really, really good and fits really well. And they just should have had more. I'm fine with them. I'm fine with having 3 montages. That's not the problem. I just think they shouldn't have been ballads.
I gotcha. Yeah.
Otherwise, that's literally my only complaint about this movie. It's
Sweet.
amazing. And
No notes.
there's, well, especially for that gunfight. Speaking
hell
of
yeah.
action, holy shit, that gunfight.
The drive-by shooting's good, but yeah, that gun battle
It's
towards
so
the end of the movie's
There's an explosion that's hardcore too. Like,
Oh yeah.
this movie thinking that it's so flamboyant and big and vibrant, and you're like, holy shit, this is real action though too. So yeah, I had to tip my hat to Warren Beatty for making this an action film.
Hell yes. I love when that car explodes and he's just shooting that Tommy gun off.
Yeah.
It's like
And that
iconic 1990s
suit. God, that suit.
badassery.
I cannot
Yeah, the yellow
overstate
is
how
so killer.
just cool that is. You know what? It was probably 91 or 92 where I wanted to dress up as him for Halloween.
Oh, hell yeah. I did. I know that much.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
And I had to watch. I think it was like a Burger King special or something like
Yeah,
that, or I
wasn't
found
it
it
in
at
the
Target. I can't remember.
Happy Meal or something.
Some like, but yeah, you push the button like calling Dick Tracy.
Yeah.
And I was like,
yeah.
whoa!
Yeah.
I loved it. I wore it to school. Everyone's like, "You got the Dick Tracy watch?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, you know it." Yeah,
Awesome.
it was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So good. I'm glad that we are both massive fans, and my flame of fandom got reignited with watching this movie after so many years. It's just so badass, and there's so many great pieces of information, which I've given a good amount of already. So I'm going to go through a few of these, and then we can discuss a little bit more. I mentioned that Touchstone was the distributor because at the time Disney thought it was a little too racy, and Jeffrey Katzenberg was also at the helm, and his dumbass had Warren Beatty cut the movie down to an hour 45 from 2:15. So just like we've said in the past, with the Joel Schumacher cut and a couple other cuts, release the Beatty cut of
Yes.
Dick Tracy. Give us another 30 minutes of this movie. I would love it so much.
Yes, I'm here for it.
Sweet. Early on in the production, Madonna figured that one way to break the ice with Al Pacino would be to flash him. So she did. And Al Pacino said that on his deathbed, if he's smiling, he is recounting that moment in his life.
Oh my God. What a line. Oh,
Yeah.
it's so good.
Hooah! And I still haven't even seen Scent of a Woman. But anyway, I just thought that was funny, and we've talked about that before, especially with Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio at the beginning of production on Titanic, etc. It happens on sets like that. You know, you got to break the ice one way or another if you're having scenes together like that.
Yes, you rip the Band-Aid off as someone who's had to do similar things. This is for work, but as someone who's had to do similar things, getting in costume, getting dressed on a film set or other aspects of that when I'm working with other people and you have to change in front of them or what have you. It's a necessary aspect of work sometimes. And the easiest thing to do, the best way to do it, I think, is exactly that. Just rip the Band-Aid off and then you don't have to overthink it and then it doesn't become awkward.
Totally agree. Now, we know this, and I'm sure our audience that has seen the movie knows this, but Al Pacino is in heavy makeup in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
The way that Big Boy Caprice looks in the movie is not actually how he looked in the comic book. Al Pacino got together with the makeup artist John Coglone Jr. to come up with this whole broad-shouldered, weird lips, weird mustache, slicked back hair, everything like that was birthed from Al Pacino and this makeup artist. And they worked together so well that Pacino took him along for pretty much the rest of his career as his personal makeup artist.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, we're talking about Al Pacino just turning it up to 11 for this movie.
Yeah.
And being so out of character for him.
Totally.
Kind of reminds me of Tom Cruise in Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Speaking
I can
of
see
the
that.
makeup.
There you go. Totally. There was an actor that was offered the role of Lips, but said that he would never work with Warren Beatty again after being directed in a movie that he worked on him earlier with, which was Reds, which will likely be on the podcast in the future. That actor is a good friend of ours. Unfortunately, we lost him this year, but he was in one pick of mine and one pick of yours at least. Well, actually, two picks of mine, because I did Enemy of the State and Unforgiven.
I was gonna say it's not Gene Hackman because you've done two of his.
It is Gene Hackman because I forgot about Unforgiven for a second.
We
Gene
just
Hackman
re-released
was like,
it.
Nope, can't. Yeah, that's so true. We did.
Oh my God.
Sean Young, if you don't know her by name, there was a lot of controversy going around with Sean Young, especially in the early 90s. She was the original cast of Catwoman with Tim Burton, and then Michelle Pfeiffer took over.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Young was offered the role of Tess, And like I said, if you don't know her by name, she played Lieutenant Einhorn in Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. She was fired from the movie, and she started a rumor saying that the reason she was fired was because she wouldn't sleep with Warren Beatty. But it ended up coming to light that she actually was a very demanding and very immature actress and got fired. And that's coming from Charlie Korsmo's mother, oddly enough.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to push back a little bit and say, first and foremost, I would not be surprised by Warren Beatty.
Oh,
saying
I
that,
wouldn't have either.
He's
Not
a
at all.
notorious playboy.
Yes.
And also, women are often labeled as difficult when, in reality, they're just saying no to sleeping with a producer.
Also true.
But given that's from Charlie Korsmo's mother, maybe that is true, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, I don't know if we'll ever truly know, but that's the information that I had.
I also don't think that's a good fit either. So I think it all worked
I don't
out
think
in
Sean
the end.
Young would have. Yeah, totally. This was the highest grossing film of Beatty's career. And like I mentioned earlier, he was the producer and had the rights bought in the mid to early 80s. And in 1985, Martin Scorsese was attached to direct this movie. But Warren Beatty, as producer, would not give Martin Scorsese final cut. So Martin Scorsese ended up backing out of the project.
Well, it is a gangster film, so that tracks.
Totally. Oh, yeah.
But
a Scorsese, Dick Tracy, that would have been
No.
bitchin'.
No, it would
I
have been
think it
like
would've been fun.
Goodfellas.
It would have been, but it still would have been cool. It would have been sweet to see
we've got-
Scorsese go down a comic book route in that era, anyway. Here's a little piece of info, especially for the time, 1990. This I feel like was a little bit of a low ball for Madonna, but she only got paid $35,000 for this movie. Now, granted, she's not in it all that much.
No, I think it
but
has
she is
more
draw,
to do with
you know.
the fact that she was only a musician, a singer at the time.
Sure, yeah,
This was-
I guess that's true too.
Before A League of Their Own, wasn't it?
Yes, just I think a year or two.
Okay.
Like Scorsese, Tim Burton was offered the chance to direct this movie.
You know what's funny? That actually kind of fit. And I mean, Danny Elfman, obviously, right?
Totally, yeah.
But with those colors, it kind of fits.
Oh, yeah, I completely agree. And what's funny is, speaking of Danny Elfman, when he got hired to do this, the reason why he got hired was because Warren Beatty loved the Batman soundtrack so much. And
Because it's awesome.
Danny Elfman, it's great. But Danny Elfman said at the end of working with Warren Beatty that Warren Beatty is insane.
I mean, yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I'm not surprised at all.
neither am I. Warren Beatty, at the time also that this movie was going into production, he was offered the chance to star and direct Misery, but ended up taking this project on instead.
I'm glad. I think that
Oh, so am I.
this fits much better.
Yes, and James Caan is in Misery, and he's also got a small role in Dick Tracy, where this movie
Yeah.
actually reunites Al Pacino and James Caan since The Godfather.
Now that is a cool connection.
Yeah, right? I love that scene in the boardroom where Caprice is just going off, and yeah, so badass.
And James Caan just looks so slick in that
Oh,
costume.
hell yeah, he did.
With that little
Totally.
pencil mustache. This is such a
Yeah.
perfect fit.
It really was. There were several other actors in consideration to play Dick Tracy. A few of them I could see, few of them I cannot. Robert De Niro was offered it. I don't think he could have done Dick Tracy.
No,
he
but
probably could have, but it would have just been so De Niro.
No,
You know?
yeah, he's not adventurous enough.
Yeah, I totally see that. Jack Nicholson was another one.
Jack Nicholson would have been a good big boy.
Totally. Yeah, that would have been sweet.
That would have been a better casting choice. I mean, not versus Al Pacino, but in terms of considering him for either one.
Yeah. Harrison Ford was another.
Hell yeah. 100% I could see that.
Yeah, Harrison Ford,
Fuck yeah.
absolutely. Mel Gibson's another one.
No.
I'm on the side too. I think he could have, but I don't think he could have. I'm like 30-70 on it. 30 yes, 70 no. It's like
No,
he
because
needed a sharper chin, I think, on it, oddly enough.
Well,
Just
not
based
only
off the
that,
comic
but
books and
Warren
illustrations.
Beatty seems big in this movie, like a big
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
Like he used to play football big.
Right. Oddly enough, in Heaven Can Wait, he was a football player.
Exactly. Whereas Mel Gibson looks like he did modern dance in high school.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, he's a skinny dude, and he's got an element, even in Braveheart, right? He's a very serious role, but there's an element of comedy underneath that Dick Tracy seems more haunted.
Sure.
I don't think it fits.
Yeah, all right. I'm with you there. I can do that. This one I totally could see, and even more so now that I was very lucky enough to see Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb back in theaters. But George C. Scott was another one that was offered Dick Tracy.
Yeah,
I could totally see George C. Scott knocking it out of the park.
He'd be a good chief of police.
He would be a good chief
older.
of police too. Yeah, for 90, he was definitely a little much older than Warren Beatty, but I think he could have been a good Dick Tracy. Production for Dick Tracy began February 1st of 1989. They ended up wrapping on April 27th of 1989. Had an 85-day shooting schedule with 53 interior sets and 25 exterior sets. The budget for Dick Tracy was $47 million.
Hell yeah. I was going to guess 45 because of all the sets they needed to build.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Release date of Dick Tracy was June 15th of 1990. Post-production took about a year. Domestic box office intake was $103.7 million.
How did I forget that this movie was successful? Oh my God.
Yeah. And worldwide box office, $162.7 million. Dick
Hell
Tracy
yeah.
fucking killed it all over the place.
I mean, that's true. You are reminding me, it was super popular. There was merchandising out the ass for this movie. I totally
Hell
forgot.
yeah. And this film is an Oscar nominee and an Oscar-winning feature film.
Hell yeah.
7 Oscar nominations.
Holy
Best art
shit.
direction and set decoration.
Deserved.
Best makeup.
Mm-hmm.
Oscar nominee for Best Original Song, Sooner or Later, I Always Get My Man, written by Stephen Sondheim.
Oh, I was wondering who wrote that.
Best Cinematography, Best Costume Design, Best Sound, and this one is, I think, my favorite Oscar nominee, Best Supporting Actor for Al fucking Pacino.
Yes! Oh my God.
So awesome. And this film won 3 of those 7 for Best Art Direction and Set Decoration, Best Makeup, and Best Original Song.
Oh my God, I thought you said it only won 1.
No, it won 3.
Wow, that's amazing. This is an Oscar winner. Holy shit.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you know what this kind of reminds me of too? Which is just because I'm so enthralled by Al Pacino's performance. It also kind of reminds me of Robert De Niro playing Captain Shakespeare in Stardust because it's so against character and he just went for it too.
Yes.
I love that for them.
Me too. Al Pacino ended up losing, unfortunately, to Jeremy Irons for a film called Reversal of Fortune, but still so badass that he got nominated for Dick Tracy.
Yeah.
Now, the highest-grossing film of 1990 was a film that we almost did, but we have not done yet. I'm sure we will in the future. Starring Macaulay Culkin, Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern, and Catherine O'Hara and John Candy. Home Alone was the highest-grossing film of 1990.
The sequel is still superior, even though that's cool.
Agreed.
Number 1.
And the 9th highest-grossing film of 1990 is my pick this week of Dick Tracy.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So that is Dick Tracy, everybody. If you have not seen it, you can't stream it anywhere. You can buy it, though, for $4.99 on Apple, which is what I did, because I have a VHS copy, and I'm holding out for hopefully a 35-year anniversary edition, or maybe a 40-year coming up. I don't know. A 4K release would be amazing.
Or a re-release in theaters.
That would be so killer. I would absolutely see that.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Hell yeah. So that is our episode for 178. Thank you guys so much for joining us for this episode where we got to travel back in time to 90s comic book movies that we both love and hopefully are reintroducing you to or just introducing you to in general.
And they both take place in the 30s. It was such a good pairing.
Yes, it was. So, V, I'm curious, would you watch The Rocketeer with your grandmother?
Oh, I totally did.
Oh, yeah. I did as well.
Yeah.
Not with your grandmother, but with mine.
I mean, you could have. She would have welcomed you
I
to the
totally
house.
could have,
There
yeah.
are always kids running through that place. Yeah, this is so kid-friendly. We both watched it when we were 5 or 6, and it's completely appropriate for kids that age.
Totally.
And John, did you watch Dick Tracy with your grandma back when you watched it?
I don't think I ever did watch it with my grandmother, no.
Huh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
It's a bit quirky because they have these caricatures of bad guys, right? And it seemed like it would have been up her alley.
I think it might have been, and it's possible that she saw it, but I cannot recall.
The bad guys are a little bit creepier in your film than mine because of the costumes and makeup. Like we said, the no-face one.
Yeah, totally freaky.
Terrified the shit out of me when I was a kid. But I would say like 8 and above is fine these days.
Absolutely, yeah.
And just like my movie, adults will absolutely have a good time with your film. It's also not a kid's movie in terms of the script and all of the dynamics in it. It's great for adults.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, V, before we sign off, I think this is as good a time as any to let everybody know what we're doing next week.
All right.
Take it away. What's your choice for next week?
Okay, well, we are diving into... It's a very niche plot description that we chose for next week.
Absolutely.
It's a cool pairing, though. I'm looking forward to it. And this is specifically sci-fi movies with some daddy issues.
Yeah.
That is because I chose the 1997 film, we're staying in the 90s, people, starring Jodie Foster and Matthew McConaughey. This is Contact.
Sweet. I have not seen Contact since I saw it in theaters.
Oh, wow.
So this is going to be a revisit that's been a long time coming because I've always wanted to see it again, but I just have not had the opportunity.
Well, I hope you enjoy revisiting it then, and we'll talk about
see.
that. Well, in order to do that, you need to rent it from Amazon Prime or any of the other streaming services.
There you go.
And John, what sci-fi daddy issue movie did you pick?
My film comes to us from the year 2000, so just after the 90s. This film stars Dennis Quaid, Jim Caviezel, Elizabeth Mitchell, Andre Braugher, and Noah Emmerich. This is Frequency. And if you would like to follow along, you can rent it on Amazon Prime. I'm likely going to have to stream it because my parents have a DVD that they don't know where it is. So I will just likely stream it and then get myself a copy if I remember it being as good as I remember it.
We both have watched that movie more recently than Contact. I know that.
That is for sure, yes.
All right. Well, I'm very much looking forward to that episode.
As am I. So stay tuned for that, everybody. Please do rate, review, subscribe. Follow us on all social media. Let us know if you're seeing any of these movies at Regal for the September month of masterpieces, because I still am. So please do jump on that. And as always here at Movies You Miss Podcast, we love to shut down with film as a form of art, and in art, all opinions are valid, except if you think.
The only good 90s comic book movies were Batman.
Ha ha! Yeah. Good take.
Thanks. I'm so glad we watched these movies again. I think
Hell yeah.
Your description was perfect. We reignited our love for these films.
Hells yes. Well, until next time, we'll see you guys next week. Cheers, everybody.
Bye-bye.